Morning, guys. We are now in our week 10 of our module 4. In this module, we'll be discussing about global product and service design, environmental factors about sustainability, and other design considerations. Hey, so let's start with our topic on global product and service design. Okay, so on global product and service design, we are focusing here about how can we be able to be competitive in the global scenario or the international scene. Okay, so when we say about globalization, it's how we're able to compete in the international market. Okay, so when we try to create a product and we wanted to be in the global scene, we must try to focus on how can we able to stay be or be competitive in the market with the how we can be able to competitive in the market with the when we try to experience the stiff competition that we have existing in the global arena. No? So, it says here that traditionally, product design has been conducted by members of the design team who are located in one facility or few nearby facilities. Okay. However, organizations that operate globally are discovering advantages in the global product design, which uses the combined efforts of a team of designers who work in different countries and even on different continents. Okay? With this certain output, okay, ang nangyayari dito is we try to consult others who are in the global scene, no? Kumukuha tayo ng inputs galing sa kanila and identifying what are those product design or service design that other countries has is offering in their own area, which can be also used in our locality, no? Yung pwedeng gamitin din dito sa paggawa natin ng product at paggawa natin ng service design, no? Kailangan ito yung sinasabi nating benchmarking, no? We try to identify, or we try to base our design from other products, so that this would be our basis in order to create a product from coming in from galing sa ibang produkto. Okay? Yun yung point ng tinatawag nating benchmarking. So that's how the basis of global product and service design. Okay, so now, yun nga, dun sa global product and service design, karamihan ng ginagawa na is they try to benchmark, nagbe-base na sila sa ibang design. Okay? If you try to observe yung ginagawa ngayon ng Oppo, yung mga cellphone industry, no? Yung mga cellphone industry, ganun yung ginagawa nila. Kung ano yung meron na technology from other companies, they try to they base their product design from that, and that nag-recreate na sila ngayon ng bagong product coming from what they have tried to benchmark. Kasi alam nila that would be the easiest way to ever conduct a research coming in from what does our competitor has. So, yun yung nangyayari. Okay, so the use of global team also allows for customer needs assessment to be done in more than one country, with local resources, opportunities, and constraints to be taken into account. Okay, so may mga ibang company, no, sa mga bigger companies, ang ginagawa nila, pinapadala nila yung mga empleyado nila sa ibang countries to conduct their own research. So pagbalik nila, madedetermine na nila, makikita na nila, may mga na-develop ng mga technologies sa ibang country. Pagbalik nila dito, yun na yung isang basis nila on how would be able to create or design a product, or which we call a service design. Okay. So global product design can provide design outcomes that increase the marketability and utility of the product. Advances in information technology have played a key role in the viability of global product design. Teams by enabling team members to maintain continual contact with each other and to instantaneously share designs and progress and to transmit engineering changes and other necessary information. So, yun nga, to increase the marketability, no, magbe-benchmark ka sa iba kasi alam mo na yung isang company na yon, na mataas na company na yon, no, maganda yung maganda yung kita nila doon, maganda yung marketability ng product, magbe-base ka doon. Ganun yung nangyayari. So, kung karamihan nagkokopyahan sila ng mga product at saka service nila. So that's why they get able to, uh, that's why they stay ahead or they stay competitive in the market. No? So that's on what we call global product and service design. Okay, so next we go now to topic 4.6, which is the environmental factors on what we call sustainability. Okay, so on sustainability, there are different concepts. No? In the certain concepts, we try to discuss first on the cradle to grave assessment. So yung sustainability, it focus on how the environmental impact of this certain the environmental impact of these certain products that has been produced and for sale in the market. Do this certain product has a greater impact to the environment, or can they are they helpful in the environment in reducing the certain problems, the common problems of waste in the community, or the existence of these certain products that can help us avoid problems in certain ways. So, in the cradle to grave assessment, this is focused on is also known as a life cycle analysis, which is the assessment of the environmental impact of a product or service through its useful life, focusing on such factors as global warming, smog formation, oxygen depletion, and solid waste generation. So yung cradle to grave, from its own production, yung pagkakagawa pa lang ng product na yun, does this creation of this certain product, no, uh, contributes to the depletion or solid waste generation of this solid waste generation of this production in our own community. Okay. Okay. For products, cradle to grave analysis take into account the impacts in every phase of a product's life cycle. Okay. So there in product life cycle, we have four phases, four phases yan. Introduction, growth, maturity, and decline. So from yung cradle to grave analysis, ina-identify natin from the start of producing the product, no, from producing the product until to the death of that certain product, does this certain product contribute or nakakatulong ba sila in the environment or nakakasira sila sa environment. So we try to assess these certain factors, no, these certain products, to identifying them, are they really sustainable in the market. Okay, so based from the introduction, the growth, kasi malalaman natin sa growth phase, sa growth phase na madami nang bumibili ng product. Pag dami nang bumibili ng product, tendency nun madaming waste ang nangyayari. Madami tayong na-produce na waste. From that certain waste, are this contributory to that can does it benefit the community? Okay, so that's what the one point of what we call cradle to grave assessment. Okay, so uh, in cradle to grave, it also considers energy consumption from its production. Okay, from its production. So that's what we call cradle to grave assessment. We have also what we call end of life programs or end of life or EOL. What are those activities in terms of the useful lives of the products that are being produced in the market? Okay, so in our end of life programs, these programs deal with products that have reached the end of their useful lives. The products include both consumer products and business equipment. The purpose of this program is to reduce the dumping of products, particularly electronic equipment, in landfills or third world countries, as has been the common practice, or incineration, which converts materials into hazardous air and water emissions and generates toxic ash. Although the programs are not limited to electronic equipment, that equipment poses problems because the equipment typically contains toxic materials such as lead, cadmium, chromium, and other heavy materials or heavy metals. So, have you ever experienced certain products, yung mga nabibili natin na produkto, especially with these technological products that we have, mga cellphone ninyo? Naiisip nyo ba, pag nasira na yung cellphone ninyo, saan napupunta yung mga cellphone? Pag nasira yung mga laptop, keyboard, anything, no, saan napupunta? Yung mga automobiles, pag nasisira na, hindi na sila pwedeng maayos pa, saan napupunta? So we have the what we call end of life programs that has been a program of the government or the other institutions that tries to recover these certain materials and use again these certain materials into which is beneficial to the which can be beneficial also to the community, just like what we have in the material recovery facility plant that we have in Vegan City. There are some yung mga ginagamit nila tulad ng bottles, no? Yung mga bote na hindi nabibili or hindi nabibili ng mga junk shop. Ang ginagawa nila, pinopulverize nila yung bote, no? Pinopulverize nila yung bote para maging parang pino. Maging pino parang pinong parang sand, yung ka-fine nung bote, in which they use that as a raw material in producing hollow blocks. Oh, okay, so yung end of life program, end of life na nung bote na yon, but regenerate nila, dine-develop nila, ini-innovate nila into something that can be used as another product. So yun yung ginagawa nila. Imbes na bibili sila ng sand, no? Imbes na bibili sila ng sand, yun na yung ginagawa nila. Pinopulverize nila yung bote to become material similar to sand, which can be used in creating or creating a hollow blocks. Okay. So the end of life programs of end of life, we have what we call the three R's that we are trying to implement in our programs, especially that we have right now in order to focus on environmental sustainability is what we call the reduce, reuse, and recycle. So in the three R's that we are trying to talk about is on reduce is what we call the value analysis. Okay, so value analysis refers to an examination of the function of parts and materials in an effort to reduce the cost and or improve the performance of a product. Okay, so for example, the mineral bottle of the nature spring. Okay, I'll give you example. I'll show you the example. Okay, so one example of our reduced value analysis is the example of these two bottled water, drinking water, and a beverage. If you try to observe this one, this bottle cup, then this bottle cup of this mineral water. Okay. Ano napansin nyo? Mas manipis ito. kaysa ito. Tama. So ito, pag napansin mo, mas makapal. So tendency niya, mas madaming raw materials na plastic ang nagamit dito. Compared sa dito na mas manipis. So tendency no, mas konti lang ang ginamit na material pang-produce sa plastic na ito. So, ano yung point dito? Yung reduce. Reduce nila yung content ng plastic, no, para maging environmental friendly and mas sustainability. And meron siyang sustainability in terms of the the content of these certain materials that has been produced as one of their product design and as their one of the product design of these two different types of bottles. Ito mas makapal yung bote. Ito mas manipis. Okay. So reduce the value analysis. Okay. So that's the point of comparison in terms of reduce or the value analysis. The next one is what we call remanufacturing. Under reuse or remanufacturing, okay, it refers to refurbishing used products by replacing worn out or defective components and reselling the products. This can be done by the original manufacturer or another company among the products that have remanufactured components such as automobiles, printers, copiers, cameras, computers, and telephones. Uh, One example that we have is yung cellphone maker. Yung cellphone maker na mansanas, alam niyo na yun. Nag-introduce sila sa market yung tinatawag nilang SE, Special Edition. Ah, yung mga special edition na yun, mga refurbished, remanufactured na, coming from different, from the old products. Kasi yun yung ginagawa nila. And others may gumagawa din ng yung tinatawag nilang remanufacturing. Dinere-develop nila, ini-innovate nila yung other products, no, or yung mga existing products nila to become another product. Then the last one, end of life programs, is what we call the recycle. Okay, so recycling is sometimes an important consideration for designers. Recycling means recovering materials for future use, which applies not only on the manufactured parts but also to materials used during production, such as lubricants and solvents. Reclaimed metal or plastic parts may be melted down and used to make different products. Okay. Just like that you have in the vegan material recovery facility plant, yung ginagamit nilang sa styrofoam dun sa mga business establishment noon, kinukuha nila yon, mini-melt down nila yung product na yon. Then they will create it, ginagawa nila pang gawa ng tables, chairs. Others, yung isang program sa isang television network ng isang station, yung nangunguha sila ng bote, no? Nangunguha sila ng bote, pas kinukuha nila yung bote, ginagawa nilang ang ginagawa nila is rene-recycle nila to, tapos pinopulverize nila ito at ginagawa at pinoproduce nila ulit para ginagawang chairs for school. Yun yung isang factor na tinatawag natin. Yun yung tinatawag natin recycle. Okay, so those are the three R's that we are talking about or that we're discussing about the end of life programs in terms of environmental factors such as sustainability. Okay. Okay, so we now go to 4.7, other design considerations. Okay, so other design considerations, strategies for product or service life stages. When we try to focus on producing product design, the product life cycle has been one of the considerations of business organizations to create or to innovate products. because once these certain phases, or once a product has reached each own phases, they try to analyze or assess the performance of that certain product, if still these certain products are saleable in the market, or do customers still try to buy this certain product. But during the this when eventually when products start to reach its maturity period, okay, business establishments or business organizations try to reassess or assess the performance of the of that certain product, if it's still saleable. But if it's not, they try to develop or innovate and create another product which is very similar to those to that existing product, and they try to remanufacture, redevelop, or innovate a product in order for again to introduce in the market for consumers consumption. Okay. Yun yung ginagawa nila. No? So, ayaw din naman natin na mangyari na ang mga consumers pagdating ng phase ng maturity, ang nangyayari dalawa na lang mangyayari yan. Mafe-phase out yung product, or they will try to innovate and create another product. Kasi pag umabot na tayo ng decline phase, there's a tendency na wala ng uh, products that discontinue with the customers will try to discontinue a product or service and replace it with new ones, or eventually they will abandon the product or abandon it in the market. So that's what we call on the product life cycle strategy. Okay. We also have the what we call the degree of standardization. Okay. On the degree of standardization, standardization refers to the extent to which there is an absence of variety in a product, service, or process. Okay. Standardized products mean interchangeable parts which greatly lower the cost of production while increasing productivity and making replacement or repair relatively easy compared of that of customized parts. So when we say standardized products in form of standardization, these products are made in large quantities of identical items such as calculators, computers, and 2% milk are examples. Standardized service implies that every customer or item processed receives essentially the same service. For example, okay, yung mga gumagawa ng mouse for laptops and for PC. May iba-ibang brands 'yan. Pero standardized yung USB port nila. It can be used to any different type of laptop. That's one example of what we call standardization. Pare-parehas lahat ng mga gamit. Chargers, okay? Chargers of Android phones. Yun, standardized. Yung different brands but the same. Pare-parehas yung port. Okay? So that's one part of what we call standardization. So another is designing for mass customization. Companies like standardization because it enables them to produce high volumes of relatively low cost products, albeit products with little variety. Customers, on the other hand, typically prefer more variety, although they like the low cost. The question for producers is how to resolve these issues without losing the benefits of standardization and incurring a host of problems that are often linked to variety. Okay. So, uh, mass customization is a strategy of producing standardized goods or services but incorporating some degree of customization in the final product or service. Several tactics make this possible. One is delayed differentiation and other is a modular design. Okay, so in delayed differentiation, it is the postponement tactic, the process of producing but not quite completing a product or service, postponing completion until customer preferences or specifications are known. For example, when you let an engineer or an architect make you a plan for your house, there is a delayed differentiation, which everyone has something very in common. There are a number of variations of this. In this case of goods, almost finished units might be held in inventory until customer orders are received, at which time customized features are incorporated according to customer request. Okay, for example, furniture makers can produce dining room sets but not apply stain, allowing customer a choice of stains. Okay. So yun yung tinatawag nating delayed differentiation. Yung may preferences pa rin yung consumers when they try um, to order or produce a certain product. Okay. Modular design is a form of standardization. Modules represent groupings of component parts into sub-assemblies, usually to the point where the individual parts lose their separate identity. One familiar example of modular design is computers. Yung mga CPU ninyo, modular design yung box. Kasi lalagay na lang yung mga components din sa loob. Okay. Pwede mong i-separate yung isang part doon, kunyari yung power supply or others, pero same pa rin, may magkakaparehas na nabibili, which is same component that can be put into the product or to the product design. Okay. For mass customization, modular design enables producers to quickly assemble products with modules to achieve a customized configuration for an individual customer, avoiding the long customer wait that would occur if individual parts had to be assembled. Okay. The most common na modular design na nakikita natin, okay, yung tent. Pagi tent, ibar barangay, karamihan modular design na kajay. Or pag sinasinain, pag sisinob natin, pare-parehas. Yung modular design nila. Pero may mga other din na iba yung setup or yung design ng product. Okay. Next is reliability. Reliability is a measure of the ability of a product, a part, a service, or entire system to perform its intended function under a prescribed set of conditions. The importance of reliability is underscored by its use by prospective buyers in comparing alternatives and by sellers as one determinant of price. Reliability also can have an impact on repeat sales, reflect on the product's image, and if it is too low, create legal implications. Reliability is also a consideration for sustainability. The higher the reliability of the product, the fewer the resources that will be needed to maintain it, and the less frequently it will involve the three R's. Okay? Hindi yung reliability, yung the use of the certain product, the ability of the product to render its service, okay, you can be able to eliminate yung tinatawag nating 3 R's. Okay. The term failure is used to describe a situation in which an item does not perform as intended. Okay. Yung expected natin na yun yung kaya gawin, expected yung expectation natin, at be able to sustain its performance. Thus, we term it as a failure. Okay. We have what we call normal operating conditions, which says conditions under which an item's reliability is specified. For example, yung isang relo, waterproof. Sinasabi natin waterproof. Pero nung sinawsaw mo na sa tubig, hindi pala. So, normal operating may failure. Or meron yung normal operating conditions, yung relo na waterproof under normal operating conditions, waterproof siya within the span of 30 meters. Pero pag lumubog ka pa more than 30 meters, hindi na yung normal operating conditions, yet there is a possibility of what we call failure. Okay. So, improving reliability. Reliability can be improved in a number of ways, of some of which are listed below. Okay. Then the last one is what we call the robust design. It's the design that results in products or services that can function over a broad range of conditions. Okay. Next one is what we call the degree of newness. Okay, the degree of newness, product or service design can range from the modification of an existing product or service to entirely new product or service. Okay, yung mga iba, in terms of automobile, okay, may mga other parts na pinapalitan na, may minimodify na of an existing product or dine-develop nila. For example, yung pickup truck, minomodify nila to become a 4x4 truck. That's what we call on the degree of newness when they try to improve uh, one's product. Okay. Quality function deployment, an approach that integrates the voice of the customer into both product and service development. This is where we'll be able to get feedbacks in order to improve one's product design or one's customer's product. The purpose is to ensure that customer requirements are factored in every aspect of the process. Listening to and understanding the customer is the central feature of what we call QFD or quality function deployment. Ito yung mga comments, suggestions, feedbacks na kinakandak ng mga different business establishments or business organizations. And the last one is what we call the Kano model. It's the theory of product and service design developed by Dr. Noriaki Kano, a Japanese professor, who offered a perspective on customer perceptions of quality different from the traditional view that more is better. Instead, he proposed different categories of quality and positioned that understanding them would better position designers to assess and address quality needs. His model provides insight into the attributes that are perceived to be important to customers. The model employs three definitions of quality: the basic quality, the performance quality, and the excitement quality. How we able to know about the wow factor in terms of the excitement quality? How our consumers are amazed upon using that certain product. Okay. In the Kano model, okay, focuses on each and every customer has its own customer requirements in terms of what we call satisfaction. Okay. So that's the basic part of what we call Kano model. For example, in a condominium, same. Pare-parehas yung pagkakagawa, yung structure ng tinatawag nating ng condominium. Then, what's inside depends upon the customer's preferences kung ano yung kailangan nilang gamitin or ilagay sa loob ng condominium or sa example sa mga townhouse. No? It depends on the customer's perceptions kung ano yung gusto ng isang consumers. Okay, so that's it on our week 10 of our module 4. If there are any questions, you are open to comment on our Google Classroom, so we can be able to add additional reinforcement or topics or discussions in our module 4. Okay, so that's it and good day.